Welcome to Honeybee, real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Spencer. Life has a strange way of exposing the truth, often when you least expect it. What began as nothing more than a routine work celebration became a night that shattered my marriage. The man who thought he could humiliate me at that event and never realized his own actions would uncover not just his betrayal, but my wife's as well, Rose, and I had been married for several years by then. Our relationship was built on mutual respect and a shared understanding of each other's dreams and ambitions. Even before we said our vows, we had agreed to postpone having children. Rose was determined to establish herself in her career before starting a family, and I supported that choice wholeheartedly. Between the two of us, I was always the quieter one, someone who preferred a peaceful night at home over crowded gatherings. Rose, on the other hand, thrived in social settings. She loved networking, office functions, and corporate parties. As a senior marketing manager at a major firm downtown, she was climbing the professional ladder quickly. For years, Rose encouraged me to join her at company dinners, holiday celebrations, and networking events. I always politely declined. Those environments made me uncomfortable, and she seemed to accept that, rarely pressing too hard when I told her I'd rather she attend alone. It became a running pattern in our marriage. She'd describe upcoming events with excitement, and I'd find a way to bow out without dimming her enthusiasm. But when her firm's annual party came around that year, things were different. Rose had spent months working tirelessly on a huge project, and her boss had hinted she would be formally recognized at the event. This time, she pushed me harder than ever before to be there. She said my presence would mean a lot to her, especially on a night that marked such a key milestone in her career. I could see how much this recognition meant to her. Despite my reluctance, I agreed to go, telling her I wanted to stand by her during one of the proudest moments of her professional life. The preparation alone showed how important the night was. Rose spent hours choosing her outfit, styling her hair, and perfecting her look. She wanted everything to reflect professionalism and confidence. I, too, made the effort, putting on one of my best suits so I could look the part as her partner. The party was held at an upscale hotel. The venue was elegant, polished, and buzzing with energy. Rose looked stunning and carried herself with confidence. I felt proud walking beside her. Throughout the evening, I pushed myself to mingle more than usual. Rose introduced me to colleagues, and I managed polite conversations despite feeling out my element. The highlight came when Rose was honored for her project. Watching her receive the recognition she had worked so hard for filled me with pride, and I was glad I'd chosen to attend. But as the night wore on, I noticed something unsettling. One particular man at the party seemed unusually interested in me. He hovered near our conversations, cutting in with comments that felt unnecessary and, at times, intrusive. At first, I brushed it off. People at parties often drift in and out of discussions. But soon his behavior grew deliberate. He began making remarks aimed directly at me, subtle jabs, dismissive comments, jokes at my expense. On the surface, his tone was playful, but underneath it was clear he was trying to get a rise out of me. Rose would sometimes laugh it off, treating his remarks as harmless banter, but the tension was noticeable. His comments became bolder, and soon others at the party were picking up on it. Some of Rose's colleagues looked uncomfortable, and the atmosphere in those moments grew tense. Still, I refused to take the bait. I stayed calm, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing me lose control. I didn't argue back or let him drag me into drama. Though I was surprised that Rose never stepped in to address his behavior, I knew reacting angrily would only make things worse. My composure seemed to frustrate him, but I held my ground until the night ended. After we got home, I couldn't shake the feeling that his behavior wasn't random. The hostility felt too personal. His knowledge of certain details about me, coupled with Rose's silence, made me question what I was missing. The more I replayed it in my head, the more convinced I became that there was a deeper connection between him and my wife. Eventually, I decided I needed answers. I hired a private investigator to look into him and his relationship with Rose. It wasn't a decision I made lightly. It meant I was admitting I suspected something far more serious. but his deliberate targeting of me had raised too many questions. Weeks later, the investigator handed me his findings, and the truth hit harder than I ever imagined. Rose and this man had been having an affair. The investigator had evidence stretching back months. Meetings outside of work, private encounters, and undeniable proof of their involvement. Suddenly, everything clicked. His attempt to provoke me at the party weren't random. They came from resentment, from seeing me in the place he wanted to be. What shocked me even further was learning he was married, to a woman named Amy. He wasn't just betraying me, but his own wife as well. Armed with evidence, I reached out to Amy. She deserved to know the truth, just as I had. I found her online, shared the documents and photos, and explained how I discovered the affair. Her response came after several days. She was devastated. In her messages, she processed betrayal and eventually told me she intended to leave him. The evidence was overwhelming, and she felt their marriage couldn't be saved. I didn't try to influence her choice. It was hers to make, but I understood her pain all too well. Meanwhile, I was wrestling with my own decision. The evidence against Rose was undeniable. Confronting her would mean facing the reality that our marriage was beyond repair. When I finally confronted her, I laid out the evidence and asked for the truth. Her reaction said it all. She was shocked, panicked, and begged me not to leave. She promised to cut off contact, insisted the affair had been a mistake, and claimed she still loved me. But nothing she said could erase months of lies. This wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. It was a calculated, ongoing deception. I told her it was over. The trust that had anchored our marriage was destroyed. Divorce was the only option. The legal process was painful, but relatively simple. We had no children and few shared assets. After several months, our divorce was finalized. Rose's career success meant no financial settlement was required, and we parted ways. The fallout reached beyond us. Her co-worker's marriage to Amy also collapsed, and their affair became known in the office. Whatever thrill they'd found in secrecy quickly evaporated once exposed. Both were left to face the personal and professional consequences of their choices. Looking back, I realized that party was a turning point. If he hadn't tried to provoke me, I might have remained blind to their betrayal for much longer. His arrogance ultimately revealed the truth. The experience taught me an important lesson. When someone tries to tear you down, they often reveal more about themselves than about you. His hostility was a reflection of his own guilt, not of my shortcomings. It also reinforced the value of trusting your instincts. From the start, I sensed his behavior was personal, and that instinct led me to uncover the truth that changed everything. Rose had been living a double life. Committed at home, deceitful behind the scenes. The level of dishonesty was staggering. In the end, their relationship didn't survive the exposure. The excitement that fueled it vanished once it was dragged into the open. Amy chose strength, ending her marriage swiftly. I admired her decisiveness. The professional consequences for both Rose and her co-worker lingered, reshaping their careers and reputations. For me, the end of my marriage, while painful, became liberating. I realized living with someone capable of such deception would have destroyed me slowly. Discovering the truth gave me the chance to rebuild with clarity. The investigator's work was expensive, but invaluable. The evidence gave me closure and ensured the divorce was straightforward. It also gave Amy the proof she needed to stand her ground and secure a fair settlement. If that co-worker had known his petty attempts to embarrass me would ultimately expose his own affair and cost him his marriage, he might have thought twice. In trying to humiliate me, he destroyed himself instead. Now, I'm rebuilding my life with a sharper awareness of how vital trust and honesty are. That night, meant to honor Rose's success, became the night that unraveled two marriages. The truth has a way of surfacing, often when it's least expected, and those who believe they're clever enough to hide their lies usually end up exposing themselves.